In the fierce market of single DD IEMs, not many of them survive and even less of them become must-tries or mainstay. But this is one of them. The Tanchjim Origin. Let's get into it. I actually reviewed the Tanchjim Origin about a year ago and I gave it a pretty raving review. I really liked it then, and after retesting it in the 2025 context, I still like it just as much. In fact, I love it. But before we jump into any sound stuff, let's touch on the non-sound stuff, the accessories, the build, and all that. The Origin comes with a rather big carrying case, cable, 6 pairs of ear tips, and interchangeable nozzles. Now, don't get too excited about these nozzles because as far as I've tested, they really don't do anything. The build of the Origin is full metal and actually feels very premium and weighty. One quick thing to note about the cable is that it only comes in a 3.5, so those of you looking for balance, you won't find it with the Origin. And for those of you who are in love with the previous famous Tanchjim single DD, the Oxygen, you guys might remember the very short nozzle that the Oxygen has. Luckily, the Origin doesn't have that same problem. The nozzle is regular size this time, which should help a lot with fit and comfort. Now with that out of the way, we can finally jump into the sound, and boy, it's good. The sound signature of the Origin can be described as a minor V shape. It has emphasis in the mid bass and also emphasis in the upper mid range and treble area, giving it this very fun and engaging yet clear kind of tuning. The mid bass here is rather fun, is thumpy, but it doesn't feel like it's bleeding into the lower mid range or changing the sound of vocals and instruments in any odd way. And this mainly has to do with how much upper mid range and treble you get that balances out the mid bass really well. The mid bass still makes its presence known, you still get the fun and the thump, but at the same time, vocal clarity still remains rather correct. And speaking of correctness when it comes to timbres of vocals and instruments, the Origin does an amazing job. And this has to do mainly with how smooth the upper mid-range to lower treble area is, which ultimately gives the Origin this very lively, bright, yet smooth and natural timbre to, again, vocals and instruments. All of that put together makes the Origin one of the more unique sounding vocal focused IEM, because not only do you get amazing vocal quality and amazing timbre, but you also get the fun and thumpiness of the bass at the same time, which is something rare because most of the time vocal focused IEMs tend to go for the more lean and clean kind of signature. Think Harman or Harman adjacent, where the bass is more focused in the sub bass, but in this case you get a vocal IEM that has bass that's focused in the mid bass. And it works. And on top of that, when it comes to the Origin's technical abilities, for the price, it is one of the better ones as well. But praises aside, the Origin does have one standout con, and that is in the sub bass. The mid bass really steals the show here when it comes to the bass region. The sub bass is there, but it's really secondary. So for those of you who like a more rumbly type of sub bass, the Origin might disappoint you. And with the sound section out of the way, let's finally get into the shoulds and shouldn't reasons for you to get the Origin, starting with the shouldn'ts. Don't get the Origin if, one, you like a very natural kind of sound signature, like not emphasized in any way at all. Around the same price, I would suggest you get the Kiwi Ears KE4. And reasons number 2, if you're potentially allergic to shout, the Origin does have quite a bit of upper mid-range, and although I don't find it shouty, if you're extra sensitive, you might. And that goes for the treble area too, I suppose. And reason number 3 is, again, the sub bass. If you love sub bass above mid bass, then the Origin probably is not for you. And now for the reason to get the Origin. Number 1, if you are a vocal lover, the Origin is one of my personal favorite vocal focused IEM, south of $300. Number 2, if you like a thumpy mid bass and you want an IEM that has that, but at the same time is still well tuned everywhere else. Number 3, the build quality. It's built like a tank and feels very premium in hand. But hey, that's just my one man's opinion on Tanchjim's new successor to the Oxygen, the Origin. If you want to form your own opinion, why not visit us at the Hangout? We're located at 200 Southbridge Road, level 1 in Chinatown. Come on down, try the Origin and hundreds of other IEMs we have available for demo. But if you're not fortunate enough to be in Singapore, but you feel like the Origin is the right IEM for you, why not purchase from us at hangout.audio, our online retail store. We ship globally and for free for orders over $30. And with all that said, remember friends, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. See you next week.